Do you speak English with a lot of pauses and hesitations? Do you have difficulty expressing your ideas in English? Do you mentally translate from your native language to English, but the sentences come out incorrect or unnatural when you speak? If you want to eliminate these problems and become fluent in English, the secret is learning to think in English. The problem with thinking in your native language and translating is that it results in sentences that are not correct in English, because the grammar and sentence structure is often different from your native language. Also, it takes too much time to think and translate when you're in a conversation, leading to pauses, hesitations, and the inability to speak fast and fluently. Many students believe that thinking in English is too difficult, but I'm going to teach you how to succeed. You can learn this skill with practice, whether you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Level 1. Thinking in individual English words. For example, when you wake up in the morning, think of words like bed, toothbrush, bathroom, eat, banana, coffee, clothes, shoes. Then, when you go to work, think of words like car, job, company, desk, computer, paper, pencil, colleague, boss. During the day, continue to think of the individual English words for everything you see, hear, and do. Try this exercise. Look around you right now and think of all the English words you can. I'd imagine you can think of at least 10 words. Level 2. Thinking in complete English sentences. On this level, you think in complete phrases and sentences during the day. When you're at lunch, think, I'm eating a sandwich. My friend is drinking soda. This restaurant is very good. When you're watching TV, think, that actress is beautiful. The journalist has black hair. He's talking about politics. It's okay if the sentences are very simple. The most important part is to practice and develop the habit of thinking in complete sentences in English. Level 3. Functional English. On this level, you imagine having to use English for everything that you need to do. After every time you speak in your native language, think of how you would say that in English. For example, how would you buy a train ticket or order a drink in an English-speaking country? A round-trip ticket to Central Station, please. Could I have a lemonade with no sugar? This helps develop your English for real-life situations, even though you are only thinking and not speaking. If, during this exercise, you don't know how to say something, check your dictionary later. If you do this kind of mental practice regularly, you will develop the ability to use English in any everyday situation. Level 4. Narrative English. Telling a story or speaking in English for a long time. It's best to do this exercise when you have some time, like when you're waiting in line or taking public transportation. Think of a memory or a story that you would like to tell an English-speaking friend. Then, tell the story in your head in English. Because you are only thinking and not speaking, you can relax and do your best without all the pressure of a real conversation. I hope you can see that you don't need to be super advanced to learn to think in English. You can start today. Your action item is to choose one of the 4 levels and try it.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Shawnee from English Explosion. It's nice to see you again. In today's secret, we are going to teach you exactly what you need to know to become a fluent English speaker.
Today's secret will help save you from wasting
hundreds or even thousands of hours
studying English vocabulary that you will never use.
Today's secret is secret number 3, which is
you need to study phrases, idioms, and slang.
At English Explosion, we call this the English code method
that native English speakers use. These are the important words and phrases that are used in most everyday conversations that native speakers have.
If you know only these words and phrases, you will be able to speak English better than other people who might know thousands of useless words.
Did you ever hear native English speakers talking and you had no idea what they were saying?
They were using words that you had never heard before.
They were using words that you had never seen in dictionaries or textbooks.
The native English speakers were saying phrases that you didn't understand.
Well, this is because native English speakers use slang and idioms when they speak. And they use phrases that are full of these idioms and slang.
These are not the normal words that you see in textbooks and dictionaries.
But these are the common words you hear in everyday conversations.
These are the words and phrases people use in real life. They start learning phrases as children.
These phrases are groups of words that when used together have a particular meaning.
You need to learn these phrases.
For example, native speakers don't think about every word in the phrase. They just know that the whole group of words together has a meaning. Maybe if you think about every single word in the phrase, you would be confused about the meaning of the sentence, but native speakers don't do that.
They don't care about the meaning of the individual words. They just know that those words together have a meaning.
Understanding slang and idiom expressions are some of the most difficult parts of learning real English, but we can help you. At English Explosion, we are experts in teaching our students the slang, idioms, and phrases they need to know to become fluent English speakers.
To start speaking English, you need to stop studying vocabulary lists.
You might have a huge vocabulary and know thousands of words, but you might not be able to say one correct sentence.
But if you know one common phrase, you can make hundreds of correct sentences.
If you know 100 phrases, you would be surprised at how many correct sentences you would be able to say. Finally, when you know 1,000 phrases, you will be able to speak like a fluent English speaker.
You will know the code that native speakers use.
Native English speakers love using slang and idioms in their phrases, and it's hard to get through even one sentence without hearing slang or idioms being used. It is so important to know slang and idioms because when you know these phrases and expressions, you will understand native English speakers better and you will sound more natural when you speak.
Most English learners study material that is too old and too formal.
And they sound strange when they speak because it is not the English that native speakers use in real life.
We don't want you to sound strange when you speak.
We want you to sound natural and cool when you are speaking. And that is why we want you to stop wasting time studying vocabulary and start using that time to study phrases, slang, and idioms. That is why we created our lessons and system to teach our students phrases that are full of idioms and slang. Our students quickly learn what phrases to use in certain situations. And they sound like native speakers when they are speaking.
Alright everyone, thanks for watching. We have enjoyed making this video for you as always.
Tomorrow, we will teach you our next powerful secret that will help you learn to speak English fluently and confidently.
Thanks again, and we will see you soon. Goodbye!
Bye! Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Shawnee. It's great to see you again. Today, we want to talk to you about secret number 2, which is stop studying grammar.
Stop studying grammar.
To improve your speaking, you have to stop thinking about all the grammar and rules you have learned.
The grammar rules have helped you learn how to write better, but they are not helping you speak better. In fact, these grammar rules are stopping you from speaking fluently because you are thinking too much about which word to say or what tense the word should be in.
I want to ask you a question. How did you learn to speak your native language as a child? Were you studying grammar rules as a baby? No, of course not.
You were already speaking your native language before you started studying grammar rules in school. This is the same for all native English speakers in everyone of all languages around the world.
So why would you need to study English grammar before you can speak English?
This is a problem for many students because many language schools and teachers tell you that grammar is important.
But it is stopping your ability to speak automatically because you are thinking too much. It is a fact that many native English speakers have terrible grammar.
This is because they didn't need to study grammar in school. The truth is, your grammar is probably better than most of the native English speakers that have taught you. But your good grammar skills are not helping you to be able to speak English at the level you want to speak at. You waste a lot of time when you try to make a sentence using your grammar rules. When you use grammar rules to speak, it's like trying to solve a difficult math equation in your head.
You're worried about the tense. Should this be future tense?
And you spend more time thinking and translating than speaking.
To speak fluently and naturally, you have to learn the language automatically.
You only need to know the correct phrases that English speakers use.
Our English Explosion lessons use this method.
This is one of our most powerful methods. This is our English code method. You will learn about our English code method in our next video.
Alright everyone, thanks for watching. We've enjoyed making this video for you as always.
Tomorrow we will teach you our next powerful secret that will help you learn to speak English fluently and confidently.
Thanks again, and we will see you soon. Goodbye!
Bye! Hi everyone, I'm Mike.
And I'm Shani from English Explosion. It's nice to see you again.
Today we are going to learn about secret number 5, which is study the correct material.
One of the biggest mistakes we see many students make when they are studying English is that they are not using the correct material or method to speak English.
Many language schools and teachers make their students study old, boring material that is not useful in real-life situations.
The students use old words that no one uses in real life anymore.
They learn about situations that they will never be in real life.
For example, we have seen students in language schools study stories and material about pirates and robots and fairy tales.
These are topics that are not important and you will never experience them in your real life.
These stories do not have the real English that you need in real life.
You don't need to know how a pirate talks or characters from fairy tales talk. You need to know how students in university talk or people at work talk.
You need to know what things people say when they're dating in English-speaking countries.
For example, we have a friend who studied this kind of wrong material for years in language schools. He thought his English was very good, but when he came to visit us in the United States and we were in a restaurant eating, he had no idea what to say to the waitress, and he didn't understand anything that the waitress was saying to him.
When the waitress asked him what he wanted to eat, he couldn't even order a hamburger.
He had no practice or experience using the real English he needed in real-life situations like this.
He quickly realized the English material he had been studying was not useful at all in real life.
He asked us how he could learn to speak like native English speakers.
We told him, like we tell everyone who wants to learn to speak English, you need to study point-of-view stories.
And you need to study the real conversations that would happen in these real situations.
You might be wondering, what is a point-of-view story? Well, a point-of-view story is a short story where we learn about what is happening in the story from different points of view.
For example, we learn about when the story is happening and who is telling the story.
This is very important because we use these stories to learn grammar without even knowing we're learning grammar, without even thinking about grammar.
We hear these stories being told in the present tense, then we hear parts of the story in the future or past tense.
As you listen to these stories many times, you start to understand how native speakers switch back and forth between present tense and past tense and future tense.
And you will quickly learn to speak in different tenses without ever thinking about grammar or verb tenses or translating the sentences in your head.
When you are able to switch between tenses naturally and stop thinking about grammar, you are halfway there to speaking fluently like a native English speaker.
Now, to sound natural and normal like a native speaker and not like a robot or a dictionary, you need to know the right words and phrases, slang and idioms that native speakers use in real conversations that would happen in real-life situations.
Our English Explosion lessons are created specifically to teach our students to speak fluently without thinking about grammar, and our English Explosion lessons will teach you how to use real English that you need for real-life situations.
Alright everyone, thanks for watching. We have enjoyed making this video for you as always.
Tomorrow we will teach you our next powerful secret that will help you learn to speak English fluently and confidently.
Thanks again, and we will see you soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike.
And I'm Shawnee from English Explosion. It's nice to see you again.
Today we are going to teach you secret number 7. Today's secret is our last secret in this video course, but it is so important.
It is necessary for you to know this if you want to speak English in real-life situations with native speakers.
Today's secret is learn English at native speaker speed. Too many people are learning English at non-native speaker speed. And when they hear native English speakers talking, they can't understand them. And they say they are speaking too fast.
This is a big problem. If you want to be able to understand native speakers for your work, travel, school, or just for entertainment, such as movies and music.
Of course, when you start learning English, you need to hear English spoken slowly so that you can recognize the words and hear the pronunciation clearly. But this is only the first step.
Eventually, you need to be able to recognize the words and pronunciation at real native speaker speed.
At English Explosion, we call this training your ear. And this is one of the methods we use in our English Explosion system. And we talked about it in an earlier video.
We have seen too many students studying material in which the English is spoken very slowly, or they study with a teacher that speaks at baby speed.
But when these students hear English at real-life native speed, they cannot understand anything, and they feel frustrated because they have been studying English for a long time, and they can only understand English when it is spoken slowly.
Only understanding English when it is spoken slowly will not help you in real life.
It won't help you understand the people you meet when you're traveling to English-speaking countries. It won't help you in school when your teachers and classmates are having real normal conversations. And it won't help you at work when the native English speakers are trying to talk business with you in an important or stressful meeting.
You need to be able to recognize words, phrases, and pronunciation at real native speaker speed so you can communicate effectively and be involved in the conversation instead of feeling lost and confused.
To do this, you have to train your ear. This is what the English Explosion system will teach you. We will teach you to be able to clearly hear and understand English when it is spoken fast and naturally.
We do this by building up your listening skills from beginner level to native level, all the while perfecting your ability to recognize changes in pronunciation.
Imagine speaking with native speakers who are speaking quickly and being able to understand everything clearly.
Imagine participating in a conversation with your teachers and classmates and understanding everything that's being said.
Imagine talking to a business client or partner who is in a hurry, and you are able to quickly have the conversation with them and not have to say to them, "Please slow down," or "I'm sorry, I don't understand."
You will become more important and respected at work if you are able to speak English to the clients.
Our English Explosion system will help make that possible.
If you use our English Explosion method, you will never have to say, "I don't understand. What did he say? Can you speak more slowly?"
You will never have to say those things again when you're speaking English if you use our English Explosion system.
You will understand native speakers when they speak quickly and naturally, so that you can have real-life conversations.
Okay, that's it. You finished our 7-secret video course.
Yay, you did it!
Congratulations. Now, listen. If you've enjoyed these lessons and secrets, you can use them and apply them to your own learning methods, and they will help you, and they'll help improve your speaking abilities. So you can use these secrets with whatever way you're studying, find the kind of material we've talked about, and apply it. But if you're serious about speaking English fluently and confidently today, and you're ready to get started, then we recommend you go and get our English Explosion lessons. They've been built to incorporate all these 7 secrets into the lessons so that you can start learning to speak English fluently today. Okay, congratulations on finishing the 7-secret video course. And if you're ready to start today, we recommend getting our English Explosion lessons. They will help you use the 7 secrets you've just learned and apply them to every single lesson. So you will be speaking fluent English in no time. So if you're ready and serious about speaking English fluently, then we really want you to go get our English Explosion lessons and start today.
Congratulations everyone on finishing our 7 Secrets video course. We had so much fun making this for you, and we really hope to see you soon.
If you're ready to use our 7 secrets in your English learning, then we want you to go now and get our English Explosion lesson so you can start today. So we had a lot of fun teaching you these 7 secrets, and if you get our lessons, we'll see you again very soon in our English Explosion lesson set. Okay, congratulations again on finishing our 7 secrets, and we hope to see you very soon in the English Explosion lessons.
Congratulations, bye!
Bye! Hi everyone, I'm Mike.
And I'm Shawnee from English Explosion. It's nice to see you again.
Today's secret is our most fun secret. Today's secret is secret number 6, which is have fun learning English.
It sounds like a simple idea, but many people don't do this. Many people make learning English a job, and it becomes stressful and boring.
But to make learning English more fun and easier, you have to relax your approach to learning English.
Do not worry about what you cannot remember, understand, or say.
It does not matter. You are learning and improving, so just sit back and enjoy learning.
To make learning fun, you have to start learning from fun material that is interesting, so you don't get bored and feel tired.
Don't count the hours you are studying. Learn from material that you love so you don't even notice the time passing while you're using this material. It won't even feel like you're studying.
When you are learning English, you have to stop thinking about every single word you don't know.
If you have fun material, you will learn many new things without using any effort at all.
The important thing is to enjoy yourself while you are learning, because if you are not having fun, you are more likely to give up.
If you make learning English feel like a job, you are going to feel bored while you are learning, and you are going to be thinking about all the other fun things you could be doing instead of studying.
Eventually, you're going to avoid studying English altogether, and sooner or later, you will just quit studying English.
It is true that after a couple of hours studying, most of us start to feel bored and tired. Our attention span gets shorter and we start to daydream.
I want to share these following tips with you to help you get the most at studying English.
First, you need material that is fun and interesting to keep your attention.
Boring material will put you to sleep fast. That's why we create fun lessons in our English Explosion system.
Next, your study area has to be comfortable.
You have to get comfortable and be comfortable while you are studying. Our English Explosion system will allow you to learn English anywhere.
You can put our lessons on your iPod or MP3 player and learn English while you're at the gym, or walking, or on the bus, or laying in bed at night.
Another good idea is to learn with a friend, because this can stop you from becoming bored, since you are talking to your friend about the material.
Our English Explosion lessons are great because when you use our lessons, you will be practicing with us and talking to us, your new friends.
We want you to remember to have fun while you're learning. If you're too serious, you will slow down the learning process.
Our English Explosion lessons are always fun, and they will help you learn so much without ever thinking about it. The English is going to come out naturally.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. We've enjoyed making this video for you, as always.
Tomorrow, we will teach you our next powerful secret that will help you learn to speak English fluently and confidently.
Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hi everybody, this is Lisa with English Fluency Now, and today I wanted to make this short screencast to explain a few things to you about how the website works, and also especially about the podcast and the lesson guides. I wanted to explain to you specifically what the lesson guides are and why I create them for each podcast. So as you can see on the screen, we are at the English Fluency Now website on the home page, and just a little bit about how to navigate through the website. The home page here will give you lots of good ideas about learning language and the reason why you might be wanting to learn English. Of course, you probably already have your own reasons, which might include your interest in getting a better job or traveling or perhaps coming to the United States to study. Some people are looking to come to the United States to get their master's degrees or work on their PhDs. So, of course, there are many good reasons to be wanting to become fluent in English, and I'm here to help you do that, to reach that goal. First thing I want you to notice here is that I have a free email course. It's called 7 Strategies for English Fluency. So if you just put your name here, just your first name is fine, and your email address, and then click the Sign Up Now button, you will get an email asking you to confirm that you actually do want to receive these emails. And then once you do that, you will start getting these emails, one each day, in your email inbox for 7 days. They're both audio and text lessons with some really powerful strategies that you can start implementing to help you improve your English and reach your fluency goals. Okay, we also have an About page. That just is a page here about me. So if you're interested in my experience and what I've been doing in my life, in my professional life, and also a little bit about my personal life, you can read that page. The blog is a place where I post about the upcoming podcasts, and also sometimes I post songs, lyrics to songs, and I call them Sunday sayings. I usually do them on Sundays. They're expressions in English. Also, I do have private one-on-one coaching sessions available, and I do editing, proofreading, and also recordings for people who need to have personal recordings done, and you can read about that on that page. Of course, there's the contact page, but more importantly, I want to talk about the podcasts, which I create a couple of, at least 2, 3, sometimes 4 or 5 every month, and I've created 21 podcasts so far. And so when you go to the podcast page, you can click on the link that will take you to the audio, which you will start listening to it automatically. And also it tells you right here the topics. So we have some on Facebook, Twitter, farmers markets, organic farming, etc. So also, I want you to know that you can get these podcasts in your iTunes. So if you have iTunes on your computer, you can always just go to iTunes, search English Fluency Now, and subscribe. That way, every time I put a new podcast out, it will be downloaded to your device automatically. Every time I make a podcast, I also create what I call the lesson guide. And the lesson guides are available on the products page. So if you go to the products page, it tells you here the lesson guides cost $1 each, and it tells you what they have, and you can just choose any one you want. Some people like to buy all of them. Some people just pick and choose which topics they're interested in. But I wanted to explain to you what you actually get in the lesson guide and how it works and why I think they're very valuable to you as a learner. If you click here, you get the sample guide to episode number 1 of the podcast. So the first thing you see is the page has the heading here, the English Fluency Now podcast. It tells you the number and also the topic. And then we start off with the full transcript of the podcast episode. So everything that I'm saying in the podcast is right here in writing, and I think this is a really great way to improve your English, because unless you can understand everything perfectly in the podcast, then you need some help, and this is here to help you until you can understand it completely. So as you listen to the podcast, and remember, one of my strategies for fluency is repetition. So just repeating over and over again. So I always recommend that people who are serious about improving their English listen to the podcast every day for a week. Like I said, the podcasts are anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, so it's a good chunk of time. And if you have the written transcript, then you will be able to read along, and if there are any words or phrases that you cannot understand, you'll be able to see them here and then use your own dictionary or perhaps an online dictionary to help you look up the words, and you can take notes if you print this out and just use it to help you improve your English. If you notice here, I have some words that are in red and they are bolded, and those are the vocabulary words. And so if we scroll down, you can see that the transcript is quite long. It's usually about 5 or 6 pages long. This one is 5 pages. So you have 5 pages of written material, which you also get the audio for free. That's the podcast. And then what I do here is I take those vocabulary words that I put in red in the text, and I give you definitions. I also tell you what type of a word it is, particularly in this case. So for example, pastime is a noun, so I put an N there. Launch is a verb. I give you at least one definition, sometimes 2 or 3 definitions, and usually 1 or 2 sentences. Now, I think this is a really important resource here, because sometimes it's very easy to look up a word and you think that you know it, but you don't really know a word until you can actually use it, either in speaking with another person or writing it in an email or in a letter or in some type of correspondence. So for you to be able to really learn vocabulary and really learn words, one of my strategies is to learn them in phrases, not just the meanings of lots and lots of vocabulary words, but to learn these words and know how to use them. Use them in sentences that you want to write or you want to speak. So I give you lots of examples here, and the reason why I'm giving you these examples is because I want you to read these, I want you to say them out loud, and I want them to be something that you really internalize. That means you really own this, so that you can speak these words and these phrases without thinking. You don't have to translate in your mind, and you don't have to think, now what was I supposed to say? How does that work? These are samples of how these words can be used in real sentences. They're not simple sentences. This is not a podcast for beginners. It's for intermediate and advanced learners of English. And so it's for you to become more fluent and also to expand your vocabulary, expand, broaden, widen your understanding of the English language. So after the vocabulary, we have comprehension questions. So these are just a few questions here. I noticed that in the first lesson guide, I only had 4, but now I usually have about 6 questions, and they are multiple choice. So you get to choose A, B, C, or D, and they are questions related to the podcast and the topic, just to check to see if you understood what was going on. Of course, when you're listening, you want to check for understanding, but now that you have the lesson guide, you can always go back and find that particular spot where you actually find the correct answer. So that's helpful. I also include these expansion questions, and these are really important for somebody who is very serious about working the language, working with the language. So these are open-ended questions that relate to the podcast, and they ask you to write. So, or speak. For example, number 1 says, what types of things can you post on your Facebook wall? I think you can answer this question either in with words or in writing, and this will help you take your learning to the next level, because you're not just sitting there passively listening or reading along, which is a little bit more active, but you're actually becoming more active with the content, with the podcast, and you are producing speech or producing written material. So this is very challenging. And of course, if you want to make sure that your responses are correct, you can always work with me one-on-one as your coach, or you could go to the Facebook wall and you could just say, hey Lisa, I wanted to double check my answers that I wrote for the expansion questions in the lesson guide. Will you check mine? And if I have time, I'm happy to answer questions on the Facebook wall and also make some corrections just to double check your work for you. So if you'd like to do that, just go to the Facebook wall at www.facebook.com/English Fluency Now. That's our Facebook page, and you can like the page and then post on it if you have questions. Also, in the lesson guide, I always provide what I'm calling other relevant information. So this is just interesting information that has to do with the topic. For example, here we're talking about Ivy League. You might not know what the Ivy League schools are and why they have importance here in the United States. But since the founder of Facebook was from an Ivy League school, and that's where the Facebook application actually started, where they first were using it, I tell you a little bit about that. Okay, and then I give you the answers to the comprehension questions, so the A, B, C, or D. And also I give you some sample responses or answers to the expansion questions. Oftentimes, if I'm asking you a question that could be answered in yes or no, I give you both the yes answer and the no answer. So these are just ideas. This is not the way to answer the question. It's only one way you could answer the question, and it gives you a sample, an example, or a model of how one person could answer those questions. And you could check what you wrote up against what I wrote and see if see how you did, to evaluate your own learning and to think about where you could have maybe answered in a different way, used a different word or different vocabulary. And you can also, like I said, post to Facebook and just ask me how to make some corrections, or how you think, how I think that you did, and I will give you feedback on that. The last thing that I provide is a list here of links to other articles, other websites, and sometimes videos on YouTube, for example, that are related to the topic. So as you can see, this lesson guide, number 1 for podcast number 1 about Facebook, was 10 pages long. I want to tell you that nowadays, when I make the podcast, they're usually pretty long. They're usually 20 minutes. I think some are even longer than 20 minutes. And the podcast lesson guides are usually about 15 pages long. I give a lot of vocabulary, usually between 30 and 40 vocabulary words with the sample sentences and the resource list here, the additional links and things and videos especially. It's usually a whole page worth. So I'm working on a podcast right now about Craigslist, and I'm going to be providing lots of video interviews with the founder, Craig Newmark, and links to other websites and articles. So if you're serious and you liked the topic and you really wanted to go and find some other real, authentic English materials, like I said, interviews sometimes it's movie trailers, sometimes it's other websites related to the topic, then you can click on those links and go to those interviews, those YouTube videos, those websites, and just read some more about the topic in English, of course. So those are all real, authentic websites written in English, and they're the ones that I would read as a native speaker. So I'm really interested in helping you move into real real life use of English, not just materials created for English learners. So I am working at a pretty high level here with these podcasts, and I think that the lesson guide will help you more quickly improve. So of course, listening to the podcast is really important, but I think if you use the lesson guide along with the podcast, you could probably use this lesson guide for a week's worth of learning material for yourself. Everybody has lots of different ways that they like to learn English, and of course, if you love watching movies or listening to songs, I'd highly encourage you to do anything that you really enjoy in English. But if you have an extra, let's say 30 to 45 minutes per day, or at least a couple of times a week, then listening to the podcast and working along with the vocabulary and the transcript and working on these questions, and then coming back to the Facebook page and interacting with me regarding the topic and what you wrote, I think that's a really good and very powerful way to work to improve your English. I just want to say that sometimes we try to go too broad with our learning. We try to do too much. And really, for powerful learning, for the learning that's going to really take you to the next level, because you're really understanding and actually using these new words and these new phrases in your own speech, your own conversations in English, or your own writing. You just need to focus more narrowly. Don't try to do everything all at once. Just take one podcast, listen to it over and over and over again, and use the lesson guide. And if you do that for 1 week, you will notice a big difference. And you will be able to, what I call, own these words, these phrases, and then when you go to use them, it'll be effortless. It'll be very natural for you. Just like in your own language, when you're a kid and you're learning new words, and you listen to the same songs over and over again, or you watch the same cartoon over and over again, and then it becomes a part of you, and that's just how you speak. You use those words, you use those phrases, and that's the same thing. And that's what I'm trying to get everybody to do, is just to listen to the podcast over and over and over again until you notice that you are beginning to use these phrases and these words automatically. When you're speaking to me, perhaps you're coming to my classes, or you're coming to the Facebook wall, or if you have another friend that you like to talk to in English, or a language exchange partner or something. So I hope you enjoyed the screencast today. Like I said, you can always go to the products page, and each product lesson guide is only $1. So you just go there and you add it to your cart, and it'll show up, and you can pay with PayPal. And if you have any trouble paying for these, because perhaps in your country you can't use PayPal or something, just email me and we can figure out some other way that I can get you these lesson guides. Also, the last thing here is, if you want, is to join our Facebook page. You can click on the like button there to join it, or just go directly to Facebook. We have over 12,000 people right now, and that number is growing every day. So if you want to tell your friends about it, I would be very grateful for that. And if you have any questions about the website or the products or the podcast, then just drop me a line, go on Facebook, write me a message, or post something to the wall. You can even send me an email at lisa@englishfluencynow.com. And that's all for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy the podcast, and I hope you'll check out the lesson guides. Bye now.
Do you speak English with a lot of pauses and hesitations? Do you have difficulty expressing your ideas in English? Do you mentally translate from your native language to English, but the sentences come out incorrect or unnatural when you speak? If you want to eliminate these problems and become fluent in English, the secret is learning to think in English. The problem with thinking in your native language and translating is that it results in sentences that are not correct in English, because the grammar and sentence structure is often different from your native language. Also, it takes too much time to think and translate when you're in a conversation, leading to pauses, hesitations, and the inability to speak fast and fluently. Many students believe that thinking in English is too difficult, but I'm going to teach you how to succeed. You can learn this skill with practice, whether you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Level 1. Thinking in individual English words. For example, when you wake up in the morning, think of words like bed, toothbrush, bathroom, eat, banana, coffee, clothes, shoes. Then, when you go to work, think of words like car, job, company, desk, computer, paper, pencil, colleague, boss. During the day, continue to think of the individual English words for everything you see, hear, and do. Try this exercise. Look around you right now and think of all the English words you can. I'd imagine you can think of at least 10 words. Level 2. Thinking in complete English sentences. On this level, you think in complete phrases and sentences during the day. When you're at lunch, think, I'm eating a sandwich. My friend is drinking soda. This restaurant is very good. When you're watching TV, think, that actress is beautiful. The journalist has black hair. He's talking about politics. It's okay if the sentences are very simple. The most important part is to practice and develop the habit of thinking in complete sentences in English. Level 3. Functional English. On this level, you imagine having to use English for everything that you need to do. After every time you speak in your native language, think of how you would say that in English. For example, how would you buy a train ticket or order a drink in an English-speaking country? A round-trip ticket to Central Station, please. Could I have a lemonade with no sugar? This helps develop your English for real-life situations, even though you are only thinking and not speaking. If, during this exercise, you don't know how to say something, check your dictionary later. If you do this kind of mental practice regularly, you will develop the ability to use English in any everyday situation. Level 4. Narrative English. Telling a story or speaking in English for a long time. It's best to do this exercise when you have some time, like when you're waiting in line or taking public transportation. Think of a memory or a story that you would like to tell an English-speaking friend. Then, tell the story in your head in English. Because you are only thinking and not speaking, you can relax and do your best without all the pressure of a real conversation. I hope you can see that you don't need to be super advanced to learn to think in English. You can start today. Your action item is to choose one of the 4 levels and try it.
Pronunciation Lesson 1 of 50. The phone. The telephone was first patented in 1876 by Alexander Graham Bell. Since then, public telephones have popped up all over the world. Since then, public telephones have been replaced with home phones. Currently, home phones are quickly being replaced with cell phones. Cell phones require a tower or antenna to transmit the signal from the user's cell phone to the destination phone. These towers are typically placed at the top of mountains to provide maximum coverage. The towers require large amounts of electricity to operate. In fact, a significant portion of a cell phone bill is actually electricity. Mobile phones are always used in business, especially with traveling salespeople. There are health concerns from holding the phone too close to the body for long periods of time. Possible brain problems are linked to cell phone use. The addiction to cell phones has become far worse than the addiction to coffee or cigarettes. Most people jump out of bed and surf their smartphone for email, news, and other information. The cell phone has replaced talking, hobbies, or exercise for many people.
Did you notice that आज के दौर में अगर आप फ्लुएंटली इंग्लिश नहीं बोल पाते हो तो आपको लगता है कि आप लोगों से पीछे रह गए हो, आपका सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस लो हो जाता है और दूसरा व्यक्ति अगर आपसे कम कैपेबल भी है, कम टैलेंटेड भी है, तो इंग्लिश बोलने के कारण आपसे ज्यादा कैपेबल दिखाई देता है। आप इंग्लिश बोलते क्यों नहीं हो? शायद इसलिए कि अगर आप इंग्लिश बोलने की कोशिश करोगे तो लोग जान जाएंगे कि आपको इंग्लिश नहीं आती है, और जब आप नहीं बोलते हो तो लोग तो फिर भी जान जाते हैं कि आपको इंग्लिश नहीं आती है। आप सबके स्कूल में इंग्लिश सब्जेक्ट था, आप इंग्लिश पढ़ सकते हो, आप इंग्लिश सुन सकते हो, मुश्किल से मुश्किल इंग्लिश को भी समझ सकते हो, लेकिन जब बोलने का समय आता है तो इवन आसान इंग्लिश भी नहीं बोल पाते। आपको इंग्लिश नहीं सीखना है, आपको इंग्लिश बोलना सीखना है। करेक्ट। मेरी ये वीडियो एक प्रयास है आपको फ्लुएंटली इंग्लिश बोलने के लिए कॉन्फिडेंस देने का, सो दैट आपका सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस इंक्रीज हो सके, आपका सेल्फ एस्टीम बढ़ सके और आप इस दुनिया की दौड़ में आगे निकल सको। आइए कुछ टिप्स देता हूं फ्लुएंट इंग्लिश बोलने के लिए। टिप 1, स्टार्ट थिंकिंग इन इंग्लिश। इंग्लिश में सोचना शुरू कीजिए। बस में, ट्रैवलिंग में, घर में, नहाने के समय, खाली जब भी बैठते हैं तो आप इंग्लिश में सोचिए। टुडे इज मंडे एंड आई विल आस्क मॉम टू गिव मी ब्रेड एंड ऑमलेट। आई वाज टू कॉल नेहा, शी मस्ट बी अनॉयड, एटसेट्रा। टिप 2, स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग इंग्लिश। हमेशा इंग्लिश ही बोलने की कोशिश कीजिए, चाहे गलत भी हो, बिना ग्रामर सोचे। अगर आप ग्रामर सोचने की कोशिश करोगे तो सेंटेंस बनाते रह जाओगे और इंग्लिश बोल नहीं पाओगे। टिप 3, वॉच एटलीस्ट 1 इंग्लिश मूवी डेली, सीडी, डीवीडी और लैपटॉप पे। चाहे आपको समझ लगे ना लगे, रोज एक इंग्लिश मूवी देख लीजिए। और ध्यान रखिएगा, इंग्लिश मूवी के नीचे हिंदी सबटाइटल्स या आपकी मदर टंग के सबटाइटल्स नहीं होने चाहिए। टिप 4, एक बहुत खास टिप दे रहा हूं। अपने मोबाइल फोन के कस्टमर केयर पे या टेलीविजन, फ्रिज और दूसरे गैजेट्स के कस्टमर केयर पे कॉल कीजिए, उनके साथ इंग्लिश में बात कीजिए। अगर आपकी इंग्लिश गलत भी होगी, वो फोन नहीं काटेंगे और ना ही आपका फॉल्ट निकालेंगे, और इस तरह से आपकी प्रैक्टिस भी हो जाएगी। टिप 5, जो भी इंग्लिश समझ सकता है उसके साथ तो केवल इंग्लिश में ही बात कीजिए। घर में, ऑफिस में, मार्केट में, शॉपिंग पर, रेस्टोरेंट में, एटसेट्रा। कुछ स्टैंडर्ड इंग्लिश फ्रेजेस की, सेंटेंसेस की प्रैक्टिस कर लीजिए और उनको रोज बोलना शुरू कर दीजिए। रेस्टोरेंट में जाने से पहले या शॉपिंग के लिए जाने से पहले घर में थोड़े से सेंटेंसेस की प्रैक्टिस कर लीजिए। से आप कोस्टा कॉफी पे गए तो आपको पहले से वो सेंटेंस याद है, कैन यू गेट मी अ कॉफी कैपुचिनो रेगुलर, हाउ मच आई शुड पे। और इस तरह से आप धीरे धीरे इंग्लिश में फ्लुएंट हो जाएंगे। टिप नंबर 6, टेलीविजन पर इंग्लिश चैनल्स देखने शुरू कर दीजिए। इंग्लिश न्यूज सुनिए, इंग्लिश टॉक शोज देखिए। अगर आपको ना भी समझ लगे तब भी आपने इंग्लिश टॉक शो ही सुनने हैं। टिप नंबर 7, कॉमिक्स पढ़ना शुरू कर दीजिए। कॉमिक्स आपकी इंग्लिश का फ्लो फास्ट करेगा, आपकी प्रोनाउंसिएशन, आपका एक्सेंट बढ़िया हो जाएगा। फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप बोल रहे हैं कि प्लीज गिव मी अ ग्लास ऑफ वाटर, तो वहां पर कॉमिक में आपको इंग्लिश कन्वर्सेशन के अकॉर्डिंगली लिखा मिलेगा, प्लीज गिव मी अ ग्लास ऑफ वाटर, प्लीज गिव मी अ ग्लास ऑफ वाटर। पढ़िएगा, आइडिया मिल जाएगा। टिप 8, आपके जो भी फ्रेंड्स इंग्लिश बोलने की प्रैक्टिस करना चाहते हैं या फ्लुएंट इंग्लिश बोलना चाहते हैं, उनका एक ग्रुप बना लीजिए। रोज मिलिए, रेगुलर मिलिए और इंग्लिश में ही डिस्कस कीजिए। डिसाइड कर लीजिए, समझ लीजिए कि हमारे ग्रुप में कोई भी व्यक्ति इंग्लिश के अलावा कुछ भी समझ नहीं सकता। टिप 9, इंग्लिश न्यूज़पेपर्स पढ़िए, लाउडली पढ़िए, जोर से पढ़िए। लाउडली पढ़ने से आपकी इंग्लिश, आई मीन स्पोकन इंग्लिश, और इंप्रूव हो जाएगी। टिप 10, लिसन टू इंग्लिश सॉन्ग्स। इंग्लिश सॉन्ग सुनिए और इंग्लिश सॉन्ग्स ही गुनगुनाइए। Let anybody say to you, my love is for you. Oh, समझ रहे हैं ना? टिप नंबर 11, अपनी आवाज को वॉइस रिकॉर्डर में और सेल फोन में रिकॉर्ड कीजिए और बार बार उसे सुनिए। स्पोकन इंग्लिश के लिए आपका कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ेगा। वेल माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, इन 11 टिप्स से मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि आपकी स्पोकन इंग्लिश इंप्रूव होगी। मेरी ये कोशिश कैसी लगी? अगर अच्छी लगी लाइक कीजिएगा और शेयर भी कीजिएगा और हो सके तो नीचे कमेंट भी कीजिएगा। ऑल द बेस्ट।
Did you know that vocabulary is more important than grammar? If you have good vocabulary, you can communicate successfully, even if the grammar is not completely perfect. However, one common problem is learning new words and then forgetting them. So when you want to use a particular word in conversation, you can't remember it at that moment. How annoying! Does this ever happen to you? The reason for this difficulty is that most students try to learn vocabulary by studying lists and dictionaries and memorizing the words. But this is not effective unless you naturally have a very good memory. The best way to learn vocabulary and remember the words successfully is to learn new words and use them immediately. You can do this with a very simple exercise. Every time you learn a new word, for example, from an English lesson or an article, write it down in your vocabulary notebook. Writing is more active than just reading a definition. You should write the word, the definition in English or translation, one example sentence from the article or dictionary, and one example sentence that you create. Imagine you just learned the word generous. Write in your vocabulary notebook, generous, adjective. Definition, when a person gives time or money freely. Example 1 from the article. Thanks for paying for my dinner. You're very generous. Example 2. My example. My brother is generous because he volunteers at the animal shelter on weekends. It's best if your example sentence is true or relevant to your life, because this creates a personal connection with the new vocabulary word. The next day, read your vocabulary notebook again and try to add one more example sentence using the new word. This helps establish it even better in your memory. These two simple steps, writing the word and using it immediately, help your brain remember and help you use new words. Do you have a vocabulary notebook? If not, start one today. Your action item for today is to read a text in English, identify 5 new words, and do this exercise. Write the word and its definition and use it immediately in an example sentence. This is a very simple strategy, but it makes a big difference in helping you remember new words and improve your vocabulary faster.
Pronunciation Lesson 27 of 50. At the market. The market has a wide variety of produce such as fruits and vegetables. The fruits shown in this market stall include pineapples, tomatoes, pears, and melons. I would buy a pineapple and some pears. What would you buy? This market seller is offering vegetables including carrots, lettuce, and peppers. I like carrots, but I hate lettuce and peppers. I am not a cow, so I don't like to eat many green vegetables. This is a cow. Cows like to eat greens such as grass, lettuce, alfalfa, lettuce, leaves, lettuce, and lettuce. Lettuce is good for cows, but not for people. It has very little nutrients, and most of it is grown in artificial hydroponics operations. This cow is pretty cool. Raspberries are awesome. If you're wasting your life eating lettuce and cucumbers, you're missing out. Fruit is where the action is. Raspberries are loaded with micronutrient antioxidants and flavor. If food has no flavor, it has no nutrients. Raspberries can win a fight against lettuce any day. Pronunciation Lesson 47 of 50. I can't see anything. Fog can cover entire towns and poses a traffic hazard. This 2-lane highway is covered in fog. Fortunately, there isn't much traffic on the road at the moment. Otherwise, drivers would be in greater danger of crashing their cars. When not driving, fog and mist can provide a relaxing and beautiful environment for a morning walk. This picture shows a tree in the meadow. The mist is somewhat thick and it allows people to travel without being seen. In the old days, if people wanted to do something secret, they moved during fog. When the fog is hanging low, such as in the picture, it produces a beautiful visual effect. The trees make it seem as though the mist is being held in the valley like a bathtub filled with water. Many painters have used misty landscapes as the basis for their paintings. If the fog or mist is happening during your driving, it can be very dangerous. The worst time to drive is at night during heavy fog. Sometimes it is impossible to see more than 50 feet in front of your car. It is necessary to slow down. Even with slowing down, you are risking your life. Pronunciation Lesson 44 of 50. Post Office. When mail is delivered to your door, the mailman can put it through a slot in the door. Here we see a red envelope sticking out of the door. This delivery method is very convenient because you don't even have to walk to the mailbox. If you need to mail something large, you must go to the post office. The post office workers are usually angry and unhappy because they wanted to be music singers, but now they work in the post office selling stamps and birthday cards. To avoid the unhappy, angry, and miserable post office workers, it is necessary to only mail small letters. This can be done in a mailbox. Mailboxes sometimes are covered in snow. This can be a safety hazard, so wear a helmet when you go to the mailbox. If you fall down and hit your head on the ground, the helmet will save your life. Some post office workers quit their jobs. The next day, they go to the beach and put their arms in the air in celebration. They are very excited and happy for a short period of time. Then they realize that they have no money and no job, so they go back to work at the post office. It is a cycle that cannot be broken. Pronunciation Lesson 19 of 50. How are you? This young boy is excited and happy because he is playing with plastic balls. The excitement on his face is demonstrated with a genuine smile. Children enjoy simple games because their minds are not very complex. Once they get older, it becomes more difficult for them to be entertained because of the complexity of the brain. This man is tired. Is that a man? Oh, yeah. Anyway, this man is tired because he has spent countless hours on the computer. The computer induces tiredness. Is that a man? I don't know. It kind of looks like a woman. I don't know. Okay, let's just say like this thing. All right, what am I doing? The computer induces tiredness because breathing slows down and blood circulation is minimal. This causes low oxygen levels in the brain and sleepiness. It is much better to move around periodically than only to sit. Okay, let's make this bigger. Let's see what this is. Shift, drag. Is that a man? I don't know. Maybe. Oh, look at his hands. That's totally a dude's hands. Okay, Control Z. Control Z again. Wow. That was interesting, wasn't it? No, that is definite. Well, that could be like a dude with a wig. This woman is depressed because she feels inadequate about her physical appearance. Obsession with beauty causes women to look in the mirror and experience negative emotions. It is much more productive to have fun and work on projects than it is to obsess over irrelevancies. The act of contemplation or thinking is a okay, look at this. I should put a comma here, don't you think? The act of contemplation or thinking is a productive task. Contemplating what to do today is a good start to any day. Planning ahead and not worrying about failure is a great way to enjoy each and every day. Pondering activities will get you excited and ready to start a new project. Pronunciation Lesson 4 of 50. Let's go to war. Do you want to die so that bankers and war companies can make lots of money? Join the military and support the government's wars today. You can choose to be buried, cremated, or just sunk to the bottom of the ocean during a gunfight. Either way, the bankers are making money, and isn't that really nice? One of the quickest ways to die is to get shot by a bullet. Inside the bullet is black powder. When the black powder is ignited, the bullet separates from the casing. The bullet is propelled at a high speed towards you. According to Rambo movies, once you get shot, you simply wrap it up with a shirt, and by the end of the movie, the bullet disappears and nobody notices. All right. According to the movie Top Gun with Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer, the only reason we have fighter jets is to look cool and make inspirational movies to get girls. Typically, fighter jets are used to attack bombers that would otherwise bomb your people. Bombers are used to bomb everything and destroy as much as possible. As the previous page mentioned, fighter jets are used to shoot down bombers because having your entire country destroyed is generally undesired. Pronunciation lesson 3 of 50. Let's go on vacation. Most people opt for a conventional beach vacation. Hundreds or thousands of sunburnt vacationers sit in recliners to try to forget their terrible jobs back home. I would never have a vacation like this. I only go to places where nobody else is. This setup is my preferred vacation. Nobody is at the beach. I have the entire sea to myself and nobody to bother me. Just add a small sailboat and a little workshop so I can build things and I'm good to go. Good to go means I have everything I need. When traveling, you can stay in a hotel, motel, or hostel. I prefer a small hotel or motel, but realistically, I'd much rather stay with friends than pay to stay in a junky old place with insects and who knows what crawling around the floors. No matter where you are in the world, you will always find seagulls. These white, troublesome birds will eat your food and defecate on you on purpose, just to rub in the fact that there's nothing you can do to stop them. Rub in equals to brag. Pronunciation lesson 37 of 50. Emergency. Ambulances are used to transport sick and injured people to the hospital. In case of emergency, some people opt to call the ambulance rather than drive themselves to the hospital. The ambulance is expensive, usually $300 per trip. If a person needs to get to the hospital quickly, a helicopter is used. The helicopter has the advantage of being fast without requiring a large airport to land at. Helicopter transport is very expensive, maybe $10,000, and is only used in dire emergencies. Sometimes the fire department is called to the rescue. The fire truck is equipped with a ladder, fire hose, siren, and safety equipment. Sometimes fire trucks are called for medical emergencies. Because of this, firemen are now wanting to become licensed paramedics. If there is a major accident or problem on the road, police can close the road. Signs like this are put up to notify drivers that the road is no longer open. You must drive on different roads to get around this problem and to be safer. Pronunciation Lesson 13 of 50, Science. A microscope is used by scientists to look at very small particles. Microscopes have increased in power over the years, enabling scientists and lab technicians to see greater detail in the materials they are studying. Such developments are useful in studying biology and chemistry. Test tubes are used to mix and store test materials. Chemicals or other fluids are kept in test tubes to ensure they do not get contaminated from the outside air. These test tubes are sitting in a blue plastic test tube holder. The holder keeps the tubes organized. See, test tube, slow, test tube. Fast, test tube. Test tube, like 1T. All right. Atoms and molecules can be demonstrated using 3D models. These models show each bond between atoms and also the shape of the molecule. Molecules are made up of many atoms. The straight connections between atoms are called bonds. Flasks, beakers, and graduated cylinders are all glass containers for mixing chemicals. Chemical reactions can be within these containers. Glass is chemical resistant and easy to clean. It doesn't melt in contact with chemicals, and it is very easy to see the reactions taking place inside of the containers. Pronunciation Lesson 28 of 50. Chicken. The smartest animal on earth is the rooster. Roosters are male chickens. Chickens are as smart as roosters, but not as beautiful. In fact, 18 of the past 20 international mathematics competitions were won by chickens, with ducks getting second place and people third. Chickens come in many different colors. The rooster on the right is a brown-black color scheme. The left chicken is a white and black color scheme. It was previously considered fashionable to be white, but due to the popularity of rap music, black chickens are getting more airtime on local radio stations. Ducks complained about their second place prize at the 2009 mathematics competition. They argued that chickens had an unfair advantage because they speak a different language from the judges and could cheat on solving the math problems. The lead duck was assassinated, so the complaint was never resolved. Due to the duck assassination, some angry ducks have protested by flooding the internet with disrespectful photos. Ducks are showing their buttocks in public and posting pictures on the internet. Police have not been able to make any arrests because identities cannot be determined. Pronunciation Lesson 22 out of 50. Television. Flat-screen televisions have advanced in technology over the years. The picture quality has increased clarity and definition. The price of the units has also decreased. Many people get their primary entertainment from televisions. To change the channels, it is necessary to have a remote control. The remote control has various buttons that allow the user to change channels, volume levels, and turn the TV on or off. The remote control is operated on batteries that are stored in the remote control's housing. Many people enjoy watching sports on TV. Golf is a popular sport despite the somewhat boring nature of the sport. Many people enjoy the uncertainty of hitting the ball. Others like to gamble on the outcome of the game. Some events are pay-per-view and require the viewers to pay extra money to watch. Barbecue parties often are accompanied by sporting events on TV. People enjoy hamburgers and sausages cooked over the open fire. The grill offers a place for people to congregate and discuss the sporting events. They often get into arguments over the outcome of the sports matches. Pronunciation Lesson 6 of 50, Beauty Obsession. If you want to drive yourself insane and have no point to your life, spend all day buying beauty products and experiment with different combinations of makeup and cleansers. You can't cover up an out-of-shape body, so you're better off exercising and lifting weights instead. Painting your lips is a sure way to ingest large volumes of poisonous chemicals. In fact, most women absorb 4 pounds of chemicals into their bodies annually from makeup. All of these chemicals are toxic. Why don't they just get a nice tan and get in shape? One of the most insane medical practices is the injection of Botox into the skin to prevent it from moving. Stopping the movement stops wrinkles. It's also a highly toxic substance that causes paralysis. If you're going to spend $1,000, why not put the money towards a nice car? If you want guys to see you drive a red Ferrari. Painting eyes does not cover up a deformed face, nor can it reduce the age of the person. The only way to ensure beauty is to keep the jaw pushed forward so the eyes are level and the teeth do not have an overbite. Bad? Good. Keeping the teeth aligned keeps the face and eyes aligned. Keep the jaw strong by chewing gum and force the back molars, teeth, together so there is no space between them. Pronunciation Lesson 16 of 50, The Desert. The cheapest way to traverse the desert is on camel. Camels have been used for thousands of years across Africa and Western Asia. Even today, salt traders still carry loads of salt on camels to sell at the market. The procedure is less profitable than using a truck, but for those without money, camels are the only way. The only plant that consistently grows well in desert conditions are cacti. The cactus is a spiny plant that has a waxy coating preventing water loss. Some cacti can store up to 3,000 liters of water in 10 days. They have a short growing season and a long dormant period where they conserve water. Because of the long periods of sun and little rainfall, buildings are often constructed from adobe. Adobe is made from sand, clay, and straw. Once hardened, it can last for hundreds of years if kept away from water. Many ecology enthusiasts like to use adobe because it requires no artificial materials for construction. The desert sand has ripples that are formed due to the wind. Shadows are cast due to the sun casting upon the hills. These shadows create mirages where people often see bodies of water, such as a lake or sea, where there is none. However, there are sometimes true oases in the desert equipped with trees and water. Pronunciation Lesson 41 of 50. Sheep. Sheep are one of the many domesticated animals. Domesticated animals are animals that are not wild. Since all domesticated animals live either on a farm or in a house, they have somewhat lazy lives without having to struggle to find food or shelter. Sheep enjoy grazing for most of the day. Grazing is the act of walking in a field while eating grass. Sheep need to eat a lot of grass because their stomachs can process the fiber into usable energy. Humans cannot eat grass because the fiber cannot be changed into energy and simply causes problems. Sheep are very hardy animals. Hardy animals are tough animals. Sheep can thrive in hot or cold conditions. They are raised all over the world, from the Caribbean to Iceland, United States, and Japan. They have thick fur coats to keep them warm in the winter. Other sheep do not have thick fur if they live in tropical climates. These two baby sheep are very young. They are standing next to their mother. The farmer has spray painted the number 5 onto the side of the sheep. Spray paint is a common method of marking sheep because it is fast, easy to see, and doesn't hurt the animals. Pronunciation Lesson 50 of 50. Smoking. Smoking is a fun hobby for hundreds of millions of people in the world. They enjoy lighting tobacco and breathing in the smooth, smoky flavor. This photo shows a man holding his cigarette in his hand, which people think is really cool, especially when standing outside Walmart on coffee break. Proper smoking technique is necessary to be as cool as possible. Hold the cigarette between the index finger and the middle finger. Take a smooth, long puff of the smoke to look really cool outside the liquor store on a Sunday morning. You'll definitely be the envy of the drunks behind the dumpster. Nothing is more attractive than taking a woman to your apartment and having an ashtray on the kitchen table. Studies show that 78% of women prefer men who smoke, and 95% of men said they have much better success with women when they smell like smoke. Cigarette butts can also be used to make coffee. These signs indicate that you are not allowed to smoke in the area. These signs are racist against smokers. Smoking has shown to increase health by 50% in studies conducted by the tobacco industry. In addition, children who started smoking before the age of 5 scored better on math tests and were able to get part-time jobs at the local coal mine by the age of 12. Pronunciation Lesson 46 of 50. Rough seas. Waves can be very strong and very high. As a result, sometimes it is necessary to build retaining walls to stop the waves from damaging the land. Sometimes, during hurricanes, the waves can come 20 feet onto shore and suck large objects into the sea. When the waves crash into the retaining wall, it creates a large splash. The splash is white and misty. The sound is very soothing to some people. Other people, like fishermen, do not enjoy the sound because they have had bad experiences with waves. When waves crash into shore from the ocean, they are often referred to as barrel waves because they form the shape of a barrel. These waves are used for surfing because they allow the rider to smoothly come into shore and sometimes enter the barrel if it is large enough. Often the waves of the ocean can crash at different spots. If there is coral or other shallow ground, it can cause the waves to crash. Surfers often use these coral reefs to surf, although it is dangerous if the surfer falls onto the hard, sharp coral. Pronunciation Lesson 15 of 50. Coffee, anyone? Coffee is a popular beverage around the world. It is made from coffee beans, which are dried, roasted, ground, and then heated in water to form a bitter, dark liquid known as coffee. Coffee drinkers are almost exclusively addicted to the caffeine, which causes them to be tired when they do not have enough coffee. If regular coffee isn't potent enough, espresso may suffice. Espresso is made from pressurized steam reacting with finely ground coffee beans. The resulting liquid comes out foamy and thick with a strong flavor. People enjoy the potent caffeine rush from espresso. Some people are so addicted to coffee that they will spend up to $40 per day at Starbucks. Drinking 10 cups of coffee every day will cause health problems because caffeine is highly inflammatory. The inflammation affects all cells in the body and can also affect brain function in a negative way. The obvious alternative to coffee is tea. Tea provides users with a flavor without the calories. Teas have lower levels of caffeine or no caffeine at all. There are many more tea flavors available as compared to coffee blends. In fact, tea can be made from common plants that are available in the forest. Pronunciation Lesson 29 of 50. Hippo. Hippos are beautiful animals that enjoy swimming. Some parents let their children ride on the hippos for fun. Sometimes the hippos eat the children, but the government has not banned hippo riding. 300,000 deaths were recorded in 2008 in Canada, but because hippo riding is still allowed, everyone is doing it. Photographers caught one popular singing hippo named Lindsay Low swimming nude in a public river. The river was contaminated after the swimming, noted Tim Tim, Minister of Environment. We had to chlorinate the entire river to eliminate any health hazard. These hippos are working for a government stimulus project. Their job is to inspect the river for danger and report any problems to the Ministry of Environment. Each hippo gets paid $40 per hour plus complete health and dental care, with a massage vacation each month if they come to work at least 50% of the time. After the elephants heard about the lavish $40 per hour hippo contract, they launched a protest. These elephants are working for a reforestation stimulus project. They only get $34 per hour, so they have started to destroy the forest that they planted. 2 of the elephants have filed lawsuits citing racism. Pronunciation Lesson 24 of 50. Construction. Heavy equipment is used in construction. This excavator can dig holes in the ground quickly. The large bucket is pressed into the ground to lift up the dirt. The operator has a much easier job as compared to the old method of using a shovel to hand dig. Tall buildings and concrete buildings both require a crane to lift the heavy concrete sections into place. Without a crane, building apartment complexes or high-rises would be a very difficult task. For smaller projects, regular bricks can be used. In this photo, a bricklayer is using mortar to glue bricks together. The bricks must be aligned properly to give the wall strength and proper appearance. A level is used to keep the bricks straight. Trees can be used to construct houses too. Whole logs shown in the picture can be used to build a log cabin. In addition, the logs can be cut up into boards. These boards can be used to build a conventional wooden house. Pronunciation Lesson 23 of 50. Trains. Passenger trains carry people long distances for a low price. This economical method of travel is slow but inexpensive. People can sleep on the train and have more room to move around as compared to an airplane. The sightseeing can be excellent. Military trains carry equipment to and from the battle site. This train is loaded up with a tank. The tank is secured to the train by large orange straps. The train is the cheapest way to move heavy objects. Old trains are powered by coal. The coal produces steam, which can be seen as white smoke coming from the front of the train. The steam is very hot, so it is dangerous to get close to it. Train tracks are constructed with steel rails. The rails are bolted to wooden ties. The ties are treated with a very toxic wood preservative that prevents the wood from rotting. If the wood was not preserved, it would rot within 5 years.